Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Rostermania rumours are back on the menu here, with Zuma finally revealing the name of the player that he has heard to be joining Los Angeles Thieves instead of one of the players that currently rumoured to be joining that starting lineup. Is Abuzah going to join Thieves? What would they do with Cammy and Ghosty if this was to be the case? Are they going for a 5-man lineup approach that JoeDeceives would like to see? Very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. Was on this day yesterday that Rokkr pulled off the, well, you would almost say impossible, going down 4-0 and coming back to win the series. But yeah, I guess improbable is correct, because yeah, this was still absurd. I can't believe Toronto choked that, honestly. Unbelievable scenes. Also, I thought was another classic from Infinity Ward. They've put something in the game which is very cool, and maybe this is Treyarch's doing, to be fair, but it's taken a little while longer than you might expect it to. So there's end of season camos for those that reach gold or higher. You get special camos for placing, and this is something that should always be a positive, right? Every season, really, you need to be giving out animated weapon camos or whatever for, or just camos in general for players that place pretty well. I think it was the same story, was it not, back in Advanced Warfare, all the way back in like 2014, 2015. If you placed quite highly in the ranked mode, you would get you'd get an outfit, would you not? Something like that. Anyway, people could then see you were pretty good. But yeah, it seems like it takes them a very long time to add any of these things into the game nowadays, but nonetheless, these look pretty cool. So I'm glad to see that they at least finally do exist. There also was some talk from even Dashy about going back to do an event in London. I would obviously love this to be the case again, but I'm not sure that it will be until the CDL changes its mind as to what it wants to be. London as an organisation, they might be moving to Charlotte, that was the rumour, but they might just not even bother. I mean, they just don't bother running events, right? Because it costs them money and stuff like this, and it's difficult to break even, so they're not going to bother. If the CDL is in a different ecosystem, then maybe it's possible. The CDL could also, because last year there was an event at Raleigh, which was the opening event of the season, and there was one in Columbus. It was meant to be New York, but it was Columbus, and then they did the World Championship in Vegas, but it wasn't like Vegas hosted. So the CDL for some events, like the kickoff, right, and for like a Pro-Am event or something, or certainly for the World Championship, if they're choosing the location themselves, they could do it in London. And they did choose the World Series of Warzone finals to be there in a couple of months' time, so maybe there's a bit of hope there, but you know, it's cool to see the players want to go back. Now, I've also got to mention this for you guys on the possibility of some players competing in challenges, at least at the start of the upcoming game lifecycle. Now, Scump basically says it's not going to be him, he's probably not going to do it, but Methodz actually did mention for sure that he does miss competing. So does Scump, but Scump would probably prefer not to compete in challenges and just to watch it from the sidelines, but Methodz does want to form a team, not to play the entire season, or once the season really gets going, not to play there, but to play the opening tourneys, the opening cups of Modern Warfare 3 with a roster. Maybe that roster's got to be bows, you know, maybe they can try and get Zuma involved, get someone else into the mix, but pretty interesting statement.
I do want to compete in the sense where it's like, that's why I want to play challengers when the game comes out. Like, I just love competing still. But, you know, I think certain decisions have to be made, and I guess that's where we'll leave it.
He's probably had realizations. Like,
yeah.
People thinking the Zinni bait was going to be OpTic Nation. What do you have to say about that?
I wish. Like, the challengers, or, I mean, it would have to be challengers, right? Listen, I plan on playing challengers in the beginning of the game. Like the cups, I will be playing those.
Do you reckon?
I mean, I will, and I know you won't, but I will.
I probably will not. I'll probably watch you play them, though. I'll sit there and I will watch you play them.
My goal, yeah. I mean, I want to get as much competitive hands-on the game as possible, because it's going to be fun and something to stream.
Who are you going to play with? I'm actually curious.
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to find a team that obviously doesn't really want to play at the events, or like like me, Bose, Tommy, and Sam, maybe.
If you get Tom to play, I'll actually be shocked.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like Tom would rather watch it as well.
Me, Octane, Bose, and Zuma, but I'm going to need Tommy's word that if he does play, he cannot hit the pen.
And then I come in with my team. It's me, Big Timer, Merc.
Actually, keep going.
I don't know. And we will get slammed.
You guys would get fucking slammed.
We will get slammed.
So I don't believe that Methodz was really planning to retire going into last season. It was more that when the OpTic opportunity arrived and Scump retired, and it was like, well, if I don't go for this now, it probably isn't going to go my way in the future. So I think Methodz made the correct decision, but he certainly admits that he'll miss competing for some time and wants to get back involved to some degree. Whether that means that he might be a viable substitute player for OpTic, because, look, I don't know. If they're going to have a substitute, Scump's probably the ideal, but then Scump's got to be there at all the events, and like sometimes substitutes are actually necessary. So maybe OpTic will get a very different substitute, but maybe he's interested, so we'll see how that goes. Scump also did confirm on stream that was a pretty interesting perspective, that even if Pred joined OpTic, he would have left anyway. Because I was mentioning that potentially what OpTic were trying to do is get Pred, satisfy Scump, right, keep him happy in that team, and then, you know, go from there. Because, look, you might be paying 500k, 600, 700k to buy Pred out for a contract for just 1 year of play, but if you can keep Scump happy, maybe that's worthwhile. But Scump was like, yeah, I was going to leave anyway, I was done. So even if Pred joins, Scump still wouldn't have been there, and they'd have still had to, you know, figure out the rest of the team. Maybe Dashy would have come back anyway, but they might have traded him, so maybe Arstees was going to be there. Could have been a complete mess, to be honest. And I think that, you know, OpTic have worked out in a much better spot now than they would have been had this not been the case. So let's talk about the Los Angeles Thieves. The Flank did tweet this out, so Gersh put this out here, right, which is, I thought this is pretty funny, to be honest, right? Like, I mean, it's just, it's entertaining, I think, to say the least. Now, apparently, aBeZy or someone wasn't happy about this, because Zuma asked Gersh to delete it, and it did get deleted. But even during the episode, we then have aBeZy's rendition in the bottom right-hand side of running it the other way around, which is also pretty good. So, you know, I don't know what you guys think about that. I don't know if, like, aBeZy is soft or anything, asked Zuma to delete it, or whether Zuma just thought, like, probably this is not worth it. But good content nonetheless. But what they were discussing in large part here that I wanted to get into is the Los Angeles Thieves rumored roster. As it stands, we know, like, 3 or 4 of the teams that have been officially confirmed at this point. I guess it's technically 4, because we know Boston, we know OpTic, we know FaZe and Toronto. Not New York yet, but we pretty much know New York. Now, this is the Rokkr rumored team. They were roasting this team pretty hard, and I can understand why. But as far as I'm concerned, it's like, well, you've got Rokkr, you've got Thieves. Both of those teams have, if they are formed as we expect them to be, many questions around them. Now, I'm pretty sure Los Angeles Thieves, their team is locked in. I don't know if the contracts are signed, but I'm pretty sure they've got their team of 4, and it's a matter of time until it gets confirmed. And the rumor was, the other day, that it's not the same as was leaked initially back on the 21st of July by Jacob Hale. Now, we don't have as a recording any update to this by Jake Hale or any other rumor that has said, oh, it's not going to be JoeDeceives, it's going to be Nero, or it's not going to be Cammy, it's going to be Abuzah. But apparently, this might be the case, because Zuma says that he didn't really want to say it, because he knows that if he says it and it's false, he'll get roasted again. But he did say it, and he said, look, a good source has told him, a valid source that he is confident enough to talk about again, that Abuzah is going to be in this team instead.
But there was one player that I heard was going to this camp, and he is not on this list. He's not here.
Oh, thank God. Wait, type in the chat, Tom.
I was thinking about just saying it because.
Oh yeah, say it.
Just say it, bro.
Thank goodness.
I mean, I heard
be
that.
Careful.
I heard that.
Not the be careful cheese.
Maybe at some point, Tom.
That
Maybe at some point.
Abuzah will be going to this roster.
Okay,
that's what I heard.
But Tom, this is what I don't understand. If that's true, why the is Lynn's not coming with him?
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
Why would them both?
Yeah, Lamar's in chat.
Go.
I was saving that leak for this episode. I was saving that.
Team, yeah.
Was one more? I don't remember. I think it was just Abuzah.
We don't.
It's a good title.
That could be false though. That could be false
though.
That could be false.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying leak into. I don't know if that's true. It's just a name that I heard from a pretty reputable, like a very good source. But that's the thing, bro. Things change by the day, you know. So you know, it could change. It could. I'm just saying based on what I heard.
And
this was my source, by the way. This is my source over here. Boom. That was my source. So that's a pretty valid source, right?
How recent was
who's your source? Oh.
It's in the chat.
How recent, Tom?
Don't say that.
Sam? Never mind. Oh, wait.
Tom, how recent?
This was legit 2 days ago. My cousin Vinny was sitting right next to me. My cousin Cheech, Frank, was right on the couch next to me.
Was this when you were at the Juve game, or this is
Yes,
when
it
you
was
were...
when we came back from the Juve game. So when we
Not
came
me,
back.
chat. Shut up.
We came
I
back.
got
This
my favorite.
this is 100%. There's no papaya speaking here. This is
No,
like...
bro, I swear on everything I love. I swear on everything I love. That's what I was told. But again, I don't
Maybe they're
know.
getting second thoughts.
Because
Maybe they're
I've
getting
been
second thoughts.
told shit like this before, and then I go out with confidence like a moron and say it on stream, and then it never happens.
Well, hold on. Can we can also let's also say this. I could see them signing all 5 of these players and being like aBeZy.
I can see that too.
No pressure on you to be in a starting lineup in the CDL. Our entire focus.
That's crazy though. He should be starting though. That's crazy.
That's the best. I could not disagree with that take more, bro. This is the second time
that's
you said
crazy.
this take,
Yeah, that's
bro.
crazy.
Yeah,
That's
but
crazy.
That's the worst shit.
That is a
disrespectful
terrible take.
Tom, that's what
What's
they do.
next, Ben? You gonna bring him in for search and sub him out for the hard point? What's next?
So aBuzah's been one of the big name free agents of this Rostermania period, and it was seemingly confirmed a little while ago by, well, the Awobabobs who aBuzah was playing for, and Linz as well. They tweeted out kind of like done deal, as in they'd negotiated an arrangement, a buyout agreement with some organisation for aBuzah and potentially Linz to go there. Now, I thought, to be honest, they were going to duo up and they were going to stay together, maybe join Thieves, maybe join Seattle. But them splitting up is interesting, definitely. They were 2 of the most promising players for sure in Challengers last year. aBuzah was rated #1 of the Challengers players of the season, and his numbers all year were just completely absurd. Yes, it's Challengers, but comparing aBuzah's performances in Challengers and his numbers and his kind of even damaged stats and stuff like this to Scrappy's previous Vanguard season, very similar in many ways. So aBuzah was for sure going to get signed, and I was personally surprised when I saw this initial Thieves rumour that there was no aBuzah involved here, because many would say, look, this team is highly questionable, but Parasite's perspective was that especially a player like Cammy is, he was great a few years ago, and he hasn't really been that good since. So are you just hoping that you get Cold War Cammy back, or is it time to just let the past die and move on with another option? Which is seemingly, according to Zuma, what they're going to try and do, because I don't think that it's going to be Ghosty gone and aBuzah in from this original rumoured roster. I'm guessing it's going to be in the Cammy spot. There also are, of course, some interesting questions, the way that Ghosty might mesh with the leadership over there, and just the way this team goes in general. But yeah, I think there were some early rumours that could it be Ghosty, Afro, aBeZy, Linz, right? Is that maybe a good option to keep those 2 guys coming over from Europe together with Afro, Ghosty there as well, and the leadership in Jacob and Shane they've got, which is, I think, one of the strongest coaching staffs in the entire league, which I think will be very valuable for a team like this if it's formed. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? aBuzah for Cammy in this roster. I like the idea of it theoretically. I think there's some questions as to how that's going to work from an AR perspective, but I'm sure that they can make that happen. What happens to Cammy in that case, though? Is Cammy going to walk into another good opportunity elsewhere in the CDL? Or is there a chance that Ben JoeDeceives is actually on the money, that they might do a 5-man roster thing, and they might potentially say, you know what, let's have Cammy around anyway and put him on the bench type thing? Or maybe even start Cammy at the start of the season and then bring aBuzah in a little bit later if they feel like he's ready for it, which would be a strange decision. I think with guys like aBuzah and with even HyDra of the past, you just want to get them in the team and give them the reps. And it might take them a few months to really get up to speed and like understand the comms and the way the team's going to run things. But it's probably better just to, get ready to go early and then just be a little bit patient with the team. But also, you've got to say, if they're making moves for aBuzah, like, who's the other guy, right? Are they going to stick with JoeDeceives? Or, as I've mentioned, like, is Nero? Like, is there other options as well there that might be considered from the SMG perspective? So I guess we'll see. But I'm pretty sure they've decided at the very least what their roster is going to be, so it's only probably a matter of time until we find out what their decision is going to be, and then we'll find out whether Zuma's sources again have let him down here during this Rostermania, as has been the case a couple of times so far. And just before we close out here from Brian's stats, crazy stat to be honest, highest grand finals KD throughout an entire season. So as long as you made 3 finals, then you were included here. Formal just holds the ridiculous record at a 1.43, and Ghost Slasher had a 1.34 on average in World War II in the finals he was in. Slasher again again, Slash is on this list actually a lot of times. He was on this list in Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4. Can't say I'm massively surprised. Like, he's known for always turning up in the big series, but and especially at the end of seasons. But that is pretty impressive. Formal's on here 4 times actually, isn't he? Because he's on in Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, and Advanced Warfare. And Scump's on here in Black Ops 3. Aches is even on here from Ghost. So pretty impressive, really, that it's Slasher and Formal that really have the command, it seems, of this list. But very much interested to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.